I think today's discussion for me was most important because it allowed me to hear, first of all, from some really well-informed, committed Yemenis who, after all, are a tremendous resource for all of us to listen to and to absorb not only their experience, but also their ideas. And that was one very enriching element. In addition, we had other people who bring to the table a terrific amount of experience and insight. And what we walk away from then is a much better, clearer idea of what is within the realm of the practical and the possible. And I want this experience for all of us to be able to be translatable into something that's useful for policymakers and decision makers so that it really does have resonance and can be used as a tool and a resource as we try to get real solutions to real, genuine world problems.
This is a very important time to have a discussion like this. Even though we're still looking into the type of negotiations we need to secure some sort of a peace, we really need to think of how peace would look like and what are the enablers of peace. And I think the discussion today was extremely pertinent and also very wide-ranging because we've got people from different perspectives, some from international community involved in the negotiations, some from the private sector, some from the people who work with local communities. So it was extremely important for me to hear that range of views. And I think even though we think of Yemen as an extremely difficult situation right now, I think we're much closer to a peace that is a bit more mature than we'd have thought of. And also it gives us an idea and a chance to start reimagining the way things could happen and what are the things that we could change to make peace more sustainable and self-sustained.
Today's meeting was really very, very important opportunity for all the participants, I think, to state what do they think or how do they see Yemen post-conflict. And although the discussion has taken time only at that particular time, but I think it was very, very important that we are ahead still of the negotiations to take place and for the peace agreement to be reached, and to show also how important it is not to separate the different tracks of focus on the transition post-conflict and to mainly state what are the elements which will have to be included in any post-conflict endeavor or exercise.
We got to hear from a diverse group of people. There was the the US government, the UN, the UAE, the Saudi voice, and international organizations and humanitarian groups. And this diversity, I think, reached the point where they agreed, all of them agreed, that the Yemenis can help themselves by building a system of governance that starts from the bottom up. And I think that all the ideas contributed to this notion. So I'm very pleased with the results of this session today.
I thought today was a remarkably constructive conversation, and I was particularly interested to listen to the contributions of Yemenis and Yemeni Americans with experience in the private sector, thinking and talking about opportunities and regulatory frameworks to bring the private sector into the post-war reconstruction period in Yemen, which I think will be really important. It's not the kind of conversation that I'm usually a part of, since I usually focus on political institutions, but it was really clear as the day went on that we can't really talk about a separation between the political and the economic, and we can't think about how to engage economic practices and economic institutions without political institutions, transparency, and accountability. So for me, it was a great opportunity to have a slightly different conversation than normal, but one that I saw as fruitful and I guess somewhat optimistic as well, to actually be thinking about a post-war Yemen at first seemed very strange since the war is seemingly escalating, but seeing how much creative energy people were willing to bring to bear and thinking about what post-war Yemen could look like and how we might be able to get to that point was really encouraging.
If we think some of the big ideas that have been addressed during this session, but I thought that we should tackle it more, or they need more analysis. But it was a very successful session, actually. I have attended different sessions concerning the Yemen issue, and also different lecture. I think this session gave us the chance to produce something here, that different thought from different people, but this kind of thought not necessarily have the same agreement over a lot of issue, but in the end, this agreement sometimes help to reach a solution, because we have to open the door for every voice, Yemeni's voice, to say what he wants.